Arabella Barrett is 15 and a self-made millionaire. Actually, she's been one since she was 6, after achieving international fame through the pageant world.
The youngest person on Forbes' list of highest paid YouTube stars.
As someone that's made millions of dollars on YouTube, it's humbling to know that there are literally children making bank on YouTube way more than me. But in this video, I'm gonna be talking about the shocking truth about their success that no one talks about. So this is probably one of the most important videos I've made so far, and it's how to make $1 million on YouTube. Now, I have a bit of a confession to make. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to YouTube organic growth, and I've grown my main YouTube channel to nearly 1 million subscribers, and more importantly, making multiple 6 figures per month. And the crazy thing is, I used to believe that YouTube was stupid. I thought it was all about gaming channels, pranks, and watching cat videos. I thought you should only start YouTube if you're good at playing video games like Call of Duty. And I thought that the only way to make money was basically pranking people or playing video games for 12 hours a day. And it wasn't just me. Most people thought the same exact thing. Views equal money. And because I was 6 figures in student loan debt and I needed to find a way out of my 9-to-5 job, which I hated, I naturally thought if I got a lot of views, I would make a bunch of money and I would be able to escape the 9-to-5. So I said, okay, I started gaming channels, entertainment channels, and faceless channels. But unfortunately, no one watched my videos and I didn't make any money. And that's a mistake that probably cost me 5 years and millions of dollars. Because I started realizing that most of these entertainment influencers were actually dead broke. And I also started meeting educational YouTubers that had tiny channels and were absolutely crushing it, making 6 and 7 figures a year. That's why I decided to make a change, and I started making educational content in my early 20s. And I spent the next 5 years building my YouTube channel to what it is today. And now I have over 850K subs, and it's projected to reach over 1 million by the end of the year. And I'm now making multiple 6 figures a month because I set myself up to win on YouTube with educational content. And I've helped over 50 creators implement these same strategies, with 30% of them hitting 6 figures within their first year. So to start, an educational channel lets the YouTube algorithm send you people that have painful problems that you can solve. And that also have money that they're willing to spend if you can help them with that. Because no one really buys from entertainment channels, they just consume the content. But people do absolutely make buying decisions based off of educational content. So if you watch this video carefully and actually pay attention to the strategies that I'm going to present, I have absolutely no doubt that this can change your life. And you will know how to make $1 million on YouTube in as little as 6 months. And by the end of the video, at the very least, you'll have a clear, actionable blueprint to potentially make your first million on YouTube in record time. So go ahead and nuke that like button harder than I nuked my social life in order to build my first YouTube channel. And let's go ahead and jump into the computer now. All right, guys, so today I'm going to be talking about how you can make $1 million a year on YouTube within 6 months. And the reason I know a lot about this subject is because I actually helped this exact client, which I'm going to be talking about today, get to $1 million a year run rate within 6 months. So that's approximately $83,400 per month. You multiply that by 12, and that's about $1 million per year. And I helped this client get there. So let's go ahead and talk about the client, go over, their situations, go over their background, everything like that, and talk about how you can do it as well. So let's jump into the computer right now. This client was, when they first started working with me, they were literally 18 years old. This was an 18-year-old client. I think maybe right after they started working with me, they turned 19. But this was a client who was an engineering student. So this was a client who was double majoring in engineering and business. And this was also a client who, when they first came to me, they had some ideas about the type of channel they wanted to make. Now, originally, Joaquin wanted to do study / kind of productivity type content. Very similar to like Ali Abdaal, for instance, who's a really, prolific and quite good productivity YouTuber. But there's a really big problem with this, and that is there's a ton of study / productivity content. And there's also people that just do it really well. Like Ali Abdaal is clearly like a very high class, like he's an amazing YouTuber. So like, why would anybody listen to Joaquin when it comes to study and productivity when they could listen to Ali Abdaal? Because Joaquin wanted to do something mass market, and he just wanted to make like mass market content with study and productivity. So what did we do? We looked at his story and we saw, what he had going for him. And what we noticed is he was a foreign student and he got into one of the top universities in the United States. So he got into University of Pennsylvania, which is not like Harvard or anything like that, but it's up there, right? Like UPenn, Wharton is the business school. So like it's up there. It's one of the best schools in the world. And he was a foreign student. So he actually got into this school being a foreign student. So what we determined is the best thing for him to do was to help other foreign students get into elite U.S. universities. And that's exactly what the offer was. So the content was going to be all about helping foreign students get into elite U.S. universities. And what we found after doing some research, and I'll give him most of the credit on this because he did most of the research, is that what foreign students look for and look at is what's known as IB. Okay, IB, IB, IB. You notice like almost all of his videos are about IB. And that stands for International Baccalaureate. And it's essentially the same thing as an AP test, which it stands for Advanced Placement, if you're familiar with the tests in the United States, that help you get into college and help colleges know, what your level is. But it's international. So it's the international version of AP. And this is the kind of stuff that elite foreign students are looking at who are trying to get into U.S. universities. And specifically, what we wanted to attract is the types of clients we wanted to attract were elite, kind of like rich foreign students who want to try to get into the U.S. universities, and their parents, because their parents are the ones who technically make the buying decision. So probably the student is the one who discovers the content, but then the parent is the one who actually makes the buying decision. And this is what allowed him to get to $85K per month in 6 months. So he made $85K in 1 month, and it was within 6 months of starting to work with me. And yeah, that is pretty much what it was. So our offer was, the offer that I helped him make was, first of all, he was making content. And you can tell, like, this content doesn't get that many views, right? 8.2K, 2.8K, 1.8K, 1.5K. It doesn't get that many views, but we were making content to attract foreign exchange students who wanted to get into elite U.S. universities. And his offer was a high-ticket offer where he works closely with them in order to help them get into elite U.S. universities, okay? So very, very good niche. Again, he wanted to do this super broad market niche. I can almost guarantee you he probably wouldn't have even made it to like 5,000 a month in the same time span. Maybe if he was really lucky, maybe he could have made it to 5,000 a month in the same time span. But because of the fact that he did a niche that where he was solving real problems, the 3 R's that I talk about a lot on this channel, he was solving real problems for real people that have real money, he was able to make a ton of money from this, okay? And that's exactly what I want you to be able to do as well. So the outcome of this was he made $85K per month, which over a year is $1 million run rate. And his current status is he has too many leads to make more content. And he's focused on converting leads, and he's also focused on enjoying college because he's, I think, like a 19 or 20-year-old college student right now who's doing engineering, so he's extremely busy, and he's also making a ton of money. So he has like way too many leads. He could probably work these leads for years, and he'd be totally fine, okay? So let's talk about exactly what he did. One thing I want to emphasize, guys, is story. Story, like the power of story, I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. You want to use your story because this is the one thing that nobody can ever copy from you. And imagine how weak his story would have been if he tried to go into just, broad mass market study tips and productivity tips. Like, he's a good student. Don't get me wrong, but like there's so many people covering that already, and his story would have been weak. But his story was so strong when he told it in such a way where he's a foreign exchange student who was able to get into an elite U.S. university, which a lot of foreign exchange students want to do that. And a lot of them, they have, relatively wealthy parents that could definitely pay for that type of thing. So that's exactly what he did. So step 1, guys, find and solve a problem. Preferably, you want to look at your own problems. So look at the problems that you have encountered in the last 5 to 10 years and you have solved, okay? This is pretty easy. Just look back and look at problems that you had and you were able to overcome, and then check if others have the same exact problem, okay? And then do some market research. So you can look at online forums, online communities, different YouTube niches, et cetera, et cetera. Just do some market research to see if it's a viable option. But yeah, the biggest thing, guys, is just to look at problems that you had in the past that were painful problems and ones that you were able to overcome. And that's where you start. And this is exactly where I started. So when I first started on YouTube, I talked about degrees. I talked about jobs. I talked about education. I talked about grants, writing grants, because that's something that I did in the past. I talked about being frugal, saving money, and several other things. I talked about all these things, and all of these things were problems that I had in the past that I was able to overcome. Choosing a college degree, choosing a good job, education in general. Like, do you even need to go to college? Or are there other forms of education? How to write grants, how to be frugal, how to save money. And these are all things that I had, solved, the problems that I had and that I've solved in the past. And I started making videos on all these things. And then it became, as I did more research and as I made more videos, it became very obvious that the jobs and the college degrees was really the thing that stood out, as well as education in general. And so I kind of dropped the grants and the frugal thing, and I mostly focused on jobs, education, and degrees. And at the time, I focused mostly on degrees. Then I figured out that it's actually much easier to monetize jobs and education, so I actually shifted towards that. And plus, I kind of enjoyed it more as well. Okay? Step 2, check if there's demand. See if people actually want it, okay? Because, believe it or not, it can be a big problem. But for some reason, people don't want to pull their wallet out and spend money on it. It's just weird. It's like not even necessarily logical. It can be a big, painful problem, but for some reason, nobody wants to spend money on it. So I'll just give you an example. There were a ton of people that when I interviewed people that said that they would pay and they would, really like me to help them pick their college degree and help them get the college degree faster. And so what I did is I skipped the next step, which is I highly recommend not skipping. And I actually just made a product. It was a course that took me about 3 months, working 12 hours a day to make. And it was called College 101. Okay. And this was how to get the most out of college with the least amount of time, effort, and money. And I taught people how they can actually graduate college early. They can, do credits during college or before college or during the summer to graduate college early. I was able to get a doctorate in 5 years and 9 months. And I taught people how I was able to do that in ways that even I didn't know about at the time that are even better. And even though all my market research told me that people wanted this, nobody was willing to actually buy it. So they wanted it, but they weren't willing to pay for it for some reason. So I wasted 3 months of my life and I didn't make very much money from it doing this. Okay. So find out how many people need a solution and how much they'd pay. And obviously create the content that they're looking for. So see what content your target audience consumes on a regular basis. In relation to the problem you're trying to solve, look at their YouTube search history. This is a cheat code right here. You can just literally, if they'll allow you, just pull up their YouTube search history. If you're on a Zoom call with them, pull up their YouTube search history and see what content they consume. And this is the important part that I skipped. Okay, I'm gonna get back to it, but it's this part right here, which is you want to launch your offer and you want to basically start selling before the product is fully ready. That's the part that I skipped, and that's the part that I'll never skip again. But with that being said, what you can do is you can make helpful content, start with content that's based on search terms. So this means that it's search-based content because that tends to do better on smaller channels. So with college degree, you might, like college degree would be one, engineering degree would be one. You can use a tool like vidIQ to find some of the best keywords. I love vidIQ. The keyword section on vidIQ is extremely useful to find some of the best keywords that are related to your term. So, in the case of college, you type in college degree and look at related keywords. And then, you start dialing in your YouTube pixel because that's what your channel really is. You want to train the YouTube algorithm to send the right types of people to you. And that sometimes means not sending the wrong types of people. So saying no to the wrong types of people and qualifying them is a great way to dial your YouTube pixel in. Even though it means that you're going to get less views right off the bat, down the line, you're likely going to get many more views and, more importantly, views from the right types of people. And then use this content to attract your audience and show you're an expert. So an example, again, with the client, IB, making lots of IB content, doesn't get that many views, but it dials the YouTube pixel in to send the right type of people to his channel. And then make sure your content solves your target audience's problems. And just go ahead and build relationships. So engage with potential clients on forums, social media, and offer and build a reputation as an expert. Now, one thing you can do, I've done this before, many of my clients have done this before, is essentially just promote your YouTube content on different forums. Sometimes they may not allow you to self-promote, so you have to be a little bit careful about that. However, if you make the content and then like send it to people via DM, it's probably fine. And something sneaky you can do is you can actually just start a second account and then post your content on the second account. But again, sometimes they don't allow that. But yeah, something you can do is just start a second account where they don't know that it's you and then post your content on the second account. Okay, and that's a way to get some initial traction and also just figure out what your target demographic wants. And then start selling. And again, guys, sell before you create. Offer one-on-one coaching services coaching or services, and then sell it before you create it. So always make sure you give the client a really good experience. Obviously, if you spend more time with them, you're going to be giving them a better experience, but never, ever, ever create the entire program before you sell it. Always sell it and then create the program. So for instance, you could do a 6-week coaching service or coaching session where you work with them closely for 6 weeks, and then each week you create the curriculum and the content that they're going to go over that week. And then by the end of the 6 weeks, your entire course is created, essentially, right? And then just start to grow your business. So move to group coaching once one-on-one coaching becomes saturated. And of course, you can hire people to help you with the coaching eventually. And you can also hire people to help you with the operations if you're doing a service-based business. And then just keep giving value and keep improving based on feedback, both your content as well as your paid service, as your paid stuff, right? Content and paid. Keep improving, keep giving value based on feedback. And that's how it's done, guys. That's pretty much how it's done. Start making content for things that you struggled with in the past and you were able to succeed with. Once you start making the content, you're going to see which ones take off. You're also going to see which ones you enjoy and which ones you can actually monetize. And you take those and then you think about different products. One thing I will say that I didn't mention is if you see products in your niche related to that thing that you're thinking about selling, that's actually a good thing. So if you see competitor products, competition is a good thing, guys. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't see competitor products, 99% of the time, that is bad. If you don't see competitor products, competition is a good thing. That means there is demand. Where there is competition, that means there is proof that there is demand. And proof that there is demand is a very, very good thing because, like I said, sometimes people will say that they want something, but they're not actually willing to actually pull their wallets out and pay for it. And so when you see other people that have companies and they're selling like a high-ticket coaching product or a service, that means that there is absolutely proof that there's demand. So it's a good thing. All right. So that's how it's done, guys. If you would like to apply to work with me, I'll put the link down in the description in the pinned comment below. Also, there's some free training down there. You can definitely check that out. That can, really help people. Even just my free videos, which you should watch my other videos. Here's some videos. I'll pop them up on the screen. Those can help people out, and I've seen people get results just from the free videos alone, right? So check these videos out, and I'll see you next time.